Welcome to our continuing series, Inspired Thoughts. Today, advice. Write down the advice of him who loves you, though you like it not at present. English proverb. Nothing is given so profusely as advice. La Rochefoucauld. One gives nothing so freely as advice. La Rochefoucauld. Good but rarely came from good advice. Lord Byron. Advice is seldom welcome, and those who want it the most always like it the least. Philip Dormer Stanhope, Earl of Chesterfield. No one wants advice, only corroboration. John Steinbeck. We ask advice, but we mean approbation. Charles Caleb Colton. Advice is what we ask for when we already know the answer but wish we didn't. Erica Jong. When we ask advice, we are usually looking for an accomplice. Marquis de Lagrange. Advice is seldom welcome. Those who need it most like it least. Samuel Johnson. Never trust the advice of a man in difficulties. Aesop. In giving advice, seek to help, not to please your friend. Solon. Whatever your advice, make it brief. Horace. A never-failing way to get rid of a fellow is to tell him something for his own good. Kin Hubbard. The only thing to do with good advice is to pass it on. It is never of any use to oneself. Oscar Wilde. About the worst advice you can give to some people is be yourself. Tom Masson. Nobody can give you wiser advice than yourself. Cicero. Old people like to give good advice to console themselves for no longer being able to provide bad examples. La Rochefoucauld. If someone gives you so-called advice, do the opposite. You can be sure it will be the right thing 9 out of 10 times. Anselm Feuerbach. The worst waste of breath, next to playing a saxophone, is advising a son. Ken Hubbard. The best way to give advice to your children is to find out what they want and then advise them to do it. Harry S. Truman. What you do not use yourself, do not give to others. For example, advice. Sri Chinmoy. If a man knows where to get good advice, it is as though he could supply it himself. Goethe. Giving advice isn't as risky as people say. Few ever take it anyway. William Feather. I always advise people never to give advice. P.G. Wodehouse. Wise men don't need advice. Fools don't take it. Ben Franklin. Advice is always wanting when most wanted. Albertano de Brescia. A fool sometimes gives weighty advice. Boileau. Dare to give true advice with all frankness. Cicero. In vain he craves advice that will not follow it. Randall Cotgrave. Don't give advice before you are called upon. Erasmus. No gift is more precious than good advice. Erasmus. I will give such advice as I would devise for myself. Homer. Whatever advice you give, be brief. Horace. Advice is a sacred thing. Plato. Advice has greater authority coming from divine sources. Plautus.